Grate Conversation. On today's episode, I bless you with Evan Gruzis. He's an artist turned owner of a new restaurant called The Heights. Did you call him a restaurateur? Is restaurateur a word? I don't know. Cheers, friends. 3 words, if you were to describe who you guys are, what you guys do. It could be your food.
It's clean, it's fresh, it's f***ing delicious too.
So, The Heights, what's that name all about?
We're in the University Heights district of Madison. Got a couple Frank Lloyd Wright houses, a bunch of old Victorian places. It's sort of this architecturally significant neighborhood. And so I just thought, to do it in honor, naming the place after, where we're located.
So tell me about, yourself, and I believe there were other people involved in the mix when you first began this.
Yeah. So when we first started, it was a partnership between my wife and I and Underground Meats. And so you may have heard of Johnny Hunter from Four Quarter Underground Butcher. I've known Johnny since the late 90s. The space became available in our neighborhood, and it just seemed like a really exciting thing to do together.
Gunshot boom, off to the races. Bringing you back to that first day of business, after all the has been figured out, and you're here.
It's presumptuous to say that all the has been figured out by then, because it's this race to get open. So you're meeting people for the first time and training them for a job that no one has ever done before. And we're open 7 days a week, so it's all of a sudden this machine that you can't turn off.
Well, when I looked at the crowd back there, it feels like everyone, for lack of better terms, is just chilling.
Yeah.
Here I am. I went to work today. I am drinking a bottle of wine. There are no problems.
Yeah, and there's coffee establishments that do food, and there's food establishments that do coffee, but there aren't a lot of places like this that try to do both to the highest level. Berlin or somewhere, or New York, these sorts of places are a dime a dozen. So having a place that you can hang out during the day, do some work, and then come back, go on a date at night, have some wine. That was kind of the idea.
You referenced Berlin because you've obviously been there.
Yeah,
You want to explain in what capacity you've been there?
Yeah, so I work with a gallery in Berlin, and I've been there a handful of times for solo shows, Geneva, Rome, and I actually have a show coming up in Ohio right now at the Columbus Art Museum. I think for me, the studio is this creative place. You sort of work for months on a show and then put it out there. But a business like this is something that you can be creative day to day. So for me, it really feels like an extension of what I was doing before. And I really enjoy talking to people every day. I really enjoy being a part of the neighborhood, just meeting people and that interaction. That's really nourishing for me.
That's so nice that you wave.
I literally, her son goes to preschool with our daughter.
Oh, cool.
So,
nice. Yeah. I didn't know if you were just oh yeah, that's the woman with the child, but I don't know her name.
That's Emily. Yeah. Your chef is really, you're trying to platform them and have them put their creative energy into the food. And so it does feel like an artistic collaboration. I'm a student, again, learning from Chef Allie, oh, rhubarb jus, okay. I didn't know that existed. This is exciting for me. This is a new way of looking at food. So it's really exciting to see someone expressing themselves through the menu. We're pulling stuff in from just a few miles away. So you get really high quality ingredients that are put together in a really thoughtful way. It really comes across in the flavor of the food, the texture of the food. It just feels like something that you would, have at home, for instance. It just has that robust quality to it. And then also working with regional farmers, they are excited about, expanding and working with us. So they'll call us and say, hey, we have this goat available. Would you like to do something with it? So we get these interesting opportunities to collaborate. My background is aesthetics, right? And aesthetics can also be flavors. So hopefully I'm coming at it from a perspective that's interesting for people.
It's a refreshing look at how to go into this kind of business. I don't know that everybody else has that. I can't speak for everybody else.
Yeah.
But it's unique.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah. I think you don't want to experiment too much, right? So
yeah.
You want to keep it within some parameters, but...
Says who?
Yeah, you're right.
Just say.
Yeah, screw it. We'll do what we want. Who cares?
Susan down the street who comes in, never has been here. What are you telling her to order?
Part of our training is we don't put our personal opinions out there unless asked. If it's a weekend and we've got a really great special, that's something that's going to be there for a couple days and then it's going to be gone. So, we're recently doing a bone-in pork chop with asparagus, spinach, green garlic puree, and a rhubarb jus. And that was just a perfect spring dish. In a way, I'm already pushing what I like on everybody because the ingredients are so fresh. like, you know, this is the way I'd like to eat at home. This is the way I'd like to be cooked for. And so, you know, without saying anything, I'm sort of, I guess, influencing just by what what Chef Ali puts out.
What do you envision for the Heights? What would your ideal situation be?
That's a really good question.
It's my job.
Just asking those questions. Okay, pie in the sky, like we become one of those Madison institutions. When people come in and they're like, oh, this is what this place is like. This is great. Oh, this food is amazing. Oh, I love this coffee. You know, like just like making people smile on a day-to-day basis is great. Plus there's a lot of really fun problem solving. You know, it's like, okay, how can we make something exciting that people haven't seen in a while? Now we're open. Now, like, where do you go from there? How do you keep it interesting? So doing different pop-ups. We're hosting Nanika Banda from Duluth, from Martha's Daughter. She's coming in June as well, so we're doing another pop-up. We're gonna be making use of that backyard and probably grilling out a little bit.
So when you're not here, are you always thinking about here?
I'm always thinking about here when I'm not here, even when I'm asleep at home.
No, nightmares? No.
Good
dreams. Beautiful.
I am out of questions.
Sounds good. We can wrap it.
Yes.
Cool.
No, I'm super pleased with everything.
Unless you want me to give you a
I'm
lecture on painting.
excited. I could come back, man. This series is going on forever.